Hello, and thanks for joining me. My name is Tim Elinsky. I'm the mayor of Cottonwood, and you are watching Inside Cottonwood. Today we have Kellie Wilson, who is the Executive Director of the Old Town Mission, and Eliza Louden, who's a Housing Case Coordinator for Catholic Charities. Thank you both for being here today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So I just wanted to start off with Kellie Wilson, and if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about what the Old Town Mission does for our community, please.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Old Town Mission's been in the Verde Valley since 1989, but I think a lot of people just still don't really know. So we're kind of going to walk you through a little bit. We have a food pantry. During the food pantry, you can go into our clothing room, get clothing items, hygiene, shoes, towels, blankets, sheets, tents, anything that you could possibly need for your house a little bit. We also have showers during that time, so if you're homeless, you can come in and take a shower, kind of get cleaned up for the day. We also have elderly food boxes that we deliver once a month. A lot of people don't know that, but that's a huge population that can't get out to get a food box, so we deliver food boxes once a month. We also have vision clinics, legal clinics, and TFAP monthly food boxes, and then lots of special programming like Operation Back to School. 600 backpacks goes out to all the kids going back to school. We've got the Great Turkey Giveaway where we're giving away lots of turkeys, and the Christmas celebration, and every holiday that comes up we're going to throw a nice holiday dinner down at the mission. And so that's basically our core programs that we offer on a weekly basis down there.
Great. So what are your hours then?
We are opened Monday through Friday, 9 to 11:30. Tuesday is the only day that's a little bit different, and starting in March, so this is the first time we've had it, we're doing a community produce market. So it's kind of a soft opening in March, but come April, we're going to have a full-blown farmers market, produce market, so anybody in the community can come down between 9 and 11:30 and just get really as much fresh produce as they want for their house and they can use. But the rest of that, the food pantry's opened Monday through Friday, 9 to 11:30, and then we serve lunch every single day at noon.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So where are you located again, in case you...
We are right down in the heart of Old Town, 116 East Pinal Street, and that's where we've been for about 20 years.
Fantastic, thank you. Eliza Louden, Housing Case Coordinator for Catholic Charities. What do you do for our community?
Well, Catholic Charities does a variety of things. Catholic Charities itself is all over northern and central Arizona. We have a variety of programs ranging from Head Start down in the valley to homeless services up here in northern Arizona and foster care adoption. Up in northern Arizona, a lot of our programs are directed toward individuals experiencing homelessness. So, for example, here at the Catholic Charities office in Cottonwood, we offer PATH outreach services. So that PATH is programs to assist the transition from homelessness. Those are outreach services provided to individuals experiencing homelessness that may have a severe mental illness, and that program really helps folks to connect to mental health services and eventually connect to housing. We also have a Catholic Charities veteran program that assists veterans experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness to connect to assistance for rental or move-in or things like that. And then my program specifically connects individuals experiencing homelessness to housing in a variety of different ways. We have permanent housing, we have rapid rehousing, which is basically housing assistance, and we have a little bit of affordable housing as well in this area. Okay, great.
Yeah. So how do people find you?
We're located at 736 North Main Street. You can also find us on catholiccharities.az.org is our website.
Very good. Let's go back to Kellie.
All right.
Now you're the fairly new executive director, right?
Fairly new, just 2 weeks. So.
2 weeks, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what fills your day?
Well, you know, we are always extremely busy. So on a given day, I usually end up doing all my paperwork or anything at night, but during the day, on top of all those services, we're really building relationships with the community because we're serving the working class poor, the veterans, the elderly, the homeless population. But a lot of times people are coming in, they just really want to kind of talk to you, and you're really kind of helping them try and find the resources that they need to kind of get back on their feet, turn their lives around. So today we counseled with someone, a gentleman recently passed away trying to cross the street or across the river, and he actually comes to the mission every day. So we sat with her, his mom, for about 30 minutes, and she was just completely heartbroken because he was just trying to get back to get his son to school. So we were working with her today, just trying to set up a little memorial at the mission to celebrate his life. So really there's just so many things going on. We're praying with people, we're talking with people. On top of that, we're trying to get grants to go out and bring in funds, but there's just so much that fills your day, and it's really, the big thing is about building relationships with everyone that comes in, because everyone has a story, everyone needs just someone's shoulder to lean on and just kind of lean on you. So really during the day, we're really just focused on building relationships with everyone that's coming in to see what we can possibly do to help them. So that was kind of, today was just really emotional support for her, and
Yeah, I understand.
and helping her.
Must seem, I'm sure, that there's just not enough hours in the day
There's
to complete all
really
the
not,
work.
yeah, because you know, you have a open door and people are always just stopping in trying to help, and they want to talk to you and give back to the community, and so it's really just a lot of counseling and talking with people and loving on people and just making that connection so that you can help them a little bit further.
Sure.
Try and find something
Great.
permanent, yeah.
Eliza, how about you? What fills your day?
Oh, so many things. Well, I could say that right now, today, my day was filled with setting up one of our new reentry houses, which is a project we're really excited about, called the Manzanita House. So that will be a house for women coming out of incarceration that are entering into homelessness, so that they can have a place to land and get their feet back under them and hopefully transition. So today, actually right before now, I was moving furniture into the new place, and it looks great, and I'm so excited.
Tell us more about it. How many rooms are there, and how many people can you house there? How many women can you house there?
Well, we have 2 spaces identified. One of them is, of course, the loft transitioned to the Manzanita House. So in each of the locations, we'll be able to house 4 women. So there are 2 rooms, so there's 2 women per room, and then shared kitchen, shared bathroom, and we really try to make the house look really nice and welcoming and give them a sense of independence. We have this program up in Flagstaff. It's very successful, called the Juniper House. It's been going for quite a while and has been overwhelmingly successful for the women there. A lot of women have been able to transition, get jobs, and get back to their families and their lives.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk briefly too, Kelly. You have a program. I don't know if you do it once a year. It's a services fair where you offer a free clinic, and you have just a lot of different agencies.
That's actually Project Connect, and
Project
so
Connect,
we
thank
kind
you.
of work together on that. We're really the host of that, so Eliza has, you know, put it together completely, inviting those people in. And the Old Town Mission is just, since it's centrally located, we get to kind of host it, and I think we definitely outgrew it this year.
Yes.
So we're looking at opportunities. I think we can expand into our parking lot. And so really, Eliza's been the front runner.
Okay.
on
Well,
putting
tell me more
together,
about that. I feel bad because I wanted to attend it. I think I was out of town, or I had some conflict and I wasn't able to make it there. But tell me more about that program.
So Project Connect is actually a national effort for individuals experiencing homelessness. It's really meant to, instead of a resource fair, it's meant to actually connect people to those resources. So instead of coming in and getting a brochure about the available resources, we drive all of our services to be providing those services on that date. So for example, we had the Yavapai County Health Clinic come. They did immunizations, they did tetanus shots and flu shots, and the sanctuary was there to provide on-site counseling or intervention for folks. Spectrum was there. The Old Town Mission gave out food boxes. The VA was there to look up veterans and see if they're eligible for benefits. We actually had Social Security there, which was so exciting. And DES was there, and NACOG was there for their emergency assistance. So instead of walking in and folks leaving with a brochure of what the available resources are, they leave with an appointment, and they leave with a real pathway to get to housing and to health.
That's tremendous. So when will the next fair be?
Well, it has taken place in summer. It was September, the end of September, the beginning of fall, because Kelly has been so gracious to host it every year, so we really try to hit it before they start getting into their craziness of holidays. So usually it's September, so I would look for it around the end of.
It starts getting a nice cool breeze, and so it's not as bad. So
sure.
We'll be able to.
How many people do you reckon you helped with that event last year?
You know, I know just with the services that we did, Lions Club is the vision clinic that works through us. He was able to help 10 people, but that was just such a small number, and that was, you know, because they do so little. I don't know how many people came through. It was pretty busy.
We doubled in sizes this year. We opened it up to everyone. Before the first year we did it, we really didn't know what our showing would be. So we said just people experiencing homelessness are you know, can come in here. But now we said everybody, and we I think we had over 60 people come through. We identified that 30 of which were experiencing homelessness. So we still feel like we touched a great many people that were really in need, and then also got to that population that's just on the edge and needs to connect to those services.
Sure.
So it doubled in participation and in services there, and so I'm looking forward to a wonderful day where we're going to be outside, so it can't be raining.
Right, and I spoke with Jen Mayberry. She's from the Yavapai Health Department, and she's very excited. She talked yesterday about it, and she just said she really wants to get involved this year and do a whole bunch more, and hopefully increase what we're offering. And we partner with the health department, they can bring in a lot more tents and resources. So
great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great resource for our community.
Yeah, we're excited.
All right, well, we're going to take a real quick break here for a minute, and please come back and join us here on Inside Cottonwood. Thank you.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hello and welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I am the host, Mayor Tim Elinsky, and I'm here with Kellie Wilson, Executive Director for the Old Town Mission, and Eliza Louden, Housing Case Coordinator for Catholic Charities. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
So I wanted to talk kind of on a personal level here briefly. The work that both of you women do, you don't tend to stumble into. You must have a real passion for the work you do. So I'm just curious, Kellie, what is it that brought you into this line of work?
Well, I've been born and raised here, so I think like most people, I tried my best to work my way out of Cottonwood and get out of here, you know, go see the world. And I made it to Ohio. I was a children's pastor there, but God kept calling me back to Cottonwood, to the Verde Valley. This is my home. I was born and raised Sedona, so this is my home. So before this, I was a children's pastor, you know, a stay-at-home mom for a long time, and I started working at the Old Town Mission. I just have a heart for people. I have a heart for mostly, you know, single moms, working class poor, because I'm right there in it, and it's a real struggle. I mean, how do you pay for food, clothing, school activities, and have a place to rent here in Cottonwood is such a hard issue. And I think, you know, almost 60% or more of our clients are the working class poor. I mean, we have about 20% that's homeless, and then the rest are kind of elderly and intermingled, but it's really the working class poor. So I think, and I'm looking back at every single job I've ever had has kind of led me up to this point. So every job, different jobs. And on a little different note, I've owned a repossession company, which is totally off the box, but it helps prepare you for things of the unexpected and kind of dealing with everybody, because you work with all kinds of different people.
Sure.
So every job I've ever had, being a children's pastor, owning the repossession company, working with my kids, working with the church, has kind of prepared me for this. And you know, if you have a heart and to love people, I think you're going to do great at this job. And sometimes it's a little too hard too, and it's a little hard to remember that sometimes we can't help everybody, but we can just help the ones that we can. And that's kind of what I always remember. I always remember that starfish show, you know, where he's walking down the beach throwing starfish back into the ocean, and one guy's like, well, you can't help them all, so why don't you just stop? But he's like, no, I'm making a difference in this person's life, and I'm making a difference in this person's life.
Sure.
So we just keep going and helping one person at a time.
Great. Sounds like you're right where you belong.
I think so.
Good.
Now, yeah.
Eliza, what brought you to your career?
Well, I've always wanted to do this. I grew up in a family of 6 kids with a single mom, and just always had a heart for helping. And right after I graduated from college, I moved to DC, and it's really funny that all of my work just keeps formalizing around housing. So I worked in affordable housing in DC for a couple years, and I came back to the West Coast and found myself in Arizona, and started working at Catholic Charities and bounced around to different programs, and I just kept coming back to housing because I found that really I have a great passion for security, for that security that I had growing up, for that, you know, we didn't have a lot, but we did have a roof over our heads, and I have a passion. I'm passionate that everyone has the right to a roof over their head, and so I just keep coming back to it, and I'll keep doing it.
Good, good. Can you speak just briefly about some success stories that you've had, or something that's touched your life?
Well, it was interesting. We actually had a little get together the other day because the loft closed, and actually I came to Catholic Charities. The first job I had was directing the loft, and so we got to kind of talk about what the loft has done for our community, and that it really created this dialogue around homelessness specifically, and how that we can help. And I told everybody that when I first started, I had kind of a list of folks that were coming in, that just every year they just kept coming in, and it's only about 5 people, because if you believe it, some folks never come back, some folks are able to make it work. There's about 5 people that just kept being on the street, and at the close we were able to house all but 1, all 4, so 4 people, and a variety of people on top of that, but these really chronic individuals. I was just like, this is what we want. We had, I remember one of my favorite, that's all my favorite, it's all incredible, but one of my favorite stories is somebody who was actually on the streets in Old Town, who got some attention because he was a little eccentric and would draw on things, and everyone really, they just did not think that he would be able to be housed, because in the past he would draw on walls. It was a very difficult thing. Everyone was just like, there's no way we can get him into an apartment, because he'll draw on everything. But we put it out there. We got some papers. We told him he could put things on walls. And since he got into housing, he has gotten his Social Security back. He pays his bills. He comes in and pays his rent every month. It's my favorite part, because I get to see him every month. He asks us how we're all doing. And he's been in housing for about 4 years now. And this is somebody who was very mentally ill, and we never really thought could be successful in 4 walls, and he has been amazingly successful. And it takes such pride in his house when you come over to it. And no damage. It's just been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
Tremendous. Good. Kellie, do you have any stories you could share, personal successes?
Yeah, I think, going on her story just a little bit, I think it's sometimes people just don't realize how hard it is for some people, because for us, living in a house is just natural, second nature. And I know we don't necessarily help with housing, but we have some great board members and chaplains that come in that really have a heart for people. So we actually have a couple right now that they've kind of helped get into housing, and they're learning that they don't know how to behave, and they don't know how to live, so they're trying to do the next step and kind of give them a little bit of counseling and help them that way. But you develop such a close bond to every single person coming in. And we had this one volunteer, she would come in all the time and she would receive services, but really people were just coming in just to see her. So when she passed away a few years ago, it was such a shock to everybody, because they're like, where's the bread lady that just sits there and loves us and tells us it's going to be okay, because she's been in our shoes. And so it was just heartbreaking. So you really just develop a relationship with so many people coming in. And you kind of see it, because sometimes it'll take years to get somebody that's ready to make that next step to kind of change. And so you just really mentor everyone that comes in, and
certainly
just everyone.
Certainly. Let's speak briefly about those experiencing homelessness, because I think it's easy for folks to marginalize that sector of people. But I think most would be shocked to learn that many homeless in our community hold jobs, and aren't on the street corners begging. And I think it's just interesting. Could you speak a little bit about that, and who these folks truly are that need our help?
Yeah, I know a little bit because we did do the one person one night, which is just such a hard program because there's not a lot of regulation. It's just really unsustainable being able to get people hotel rooms every night. But there were several people in that program. One gentleman was a veteran, and we worked directly with Vinny, who works at Catholic Charities. He goes to Yavapai College. And he's doing his best to do that. We actually have a volunteer that volunteers 5 days a week, and is sometimes as blind as I am. I did not realize that she was homeless for the longest time.
For the mission,
right? And she volunteers, and it just kind of escaped my knowledge that she was actually homeless until we started talking to her, and she was, well, I'm doing this because this is what I have to do. I can't afford rent. And this, and this, and this, and I'm making choices. She works nights, so she does, she works her graveyard shift, sleeps in her car for a little bit, comes down to the mission, takes a shower, volunteers most of the day, puts in, a lot of hard work, and then she visits some friends, goes back to work, and does it all over again. But she's kind of got a plan. She's going to pay off the rest of her car, and she's looking to cohabitate because you can't afford rent on your own, so she's looking at those options. But it's just so heartbreaking because she's got a full-time job.
Certainly.
She's but just life hits everybody, hits you in different ways, and kind of knocks you off your feet a little bit. So she just had some circumstances come up, and she's fighting to get back on her feet.
Yeah, I would say overwhelmingly more than half of the people that I interview for our housing opportunities have an income, and either that's Social Security or they have a job, and they just simply cannot get into a place. I mean, if you're making $733, which is what Social Security is for those folks that have disabilities that they cannot work, and they're making $733 and a one-bedroom $650. I mean, they're on the street for those things, and it's really. I think we don't understand as a community that it's not for lack of trying, because these folks try. I mean, imagine how hard it is for those folks that are working to get up and figure out where you're going to sleep every night and make it a full-time job, and you're clean, and you're able to confuse people and mislead people that you are indeed experiencing homelessness and you're still working. It's a huge population of our folks out there. And they're unfortunately not the ones that you probably see very often, but they're out there. There's a lot of them.
Well, thanks for the insight.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take another quick break just for a minute, so please come back and join us for the remaining Inside Cottonwood program. Thank you.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hello, welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Tim Elinsky, the mayor of Cottonwood, joined here today with Kellie Wilson, the executive director for the Old Town Mission, and Eliza Louden, housing case coordinator for Catholic Charities. And I wanted to ask you, Eliza, about the recent point-in-time count that was conducted here in the Verde Valley, and if you could just give us a little bit of information about that, please.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So there is actually HUD, the federal government, sends out billions of dollars every year for homeless services, for services related to housing and serving those experiencing homelessness. And to get a picture of the effectiveness of communities in ending homelessness or basically utilizing their dollars, they mandate every year that communities do what's called the annual point-in-time unsheltered homeless count. It always happens the last week of January. Usually there's only one night of reference. So this year it was Tuesday the 24th, and that's nationally. Nationally on Tuesday the 24th, teams of thousands of people are going out and interviewing individuals experiencing homelessness. Now in our community, because it's rural, we get the entire rest of the week. So we count Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then just reference that. But that gives us a picture of who's out there, who's unsheltered on that night. And then those numbers are actually reported directly to the federal government. But we keep a lot of the numbers in-house too, because it helps us to go after funding and helps us to learn our effectiveness, how effective we are being in ending homelessness in our area.
Okay. And I know that you did this, of course, last year, and you have the numbers from last year. They're not ready yet for this year, but do you expect there to be much of a difference? You know,
this year it was Cottonwood was about the same, just in me counting the surveys. Sedona, we had a great increase. We have a team out there who, this was the first year that we just had a really active, really supportive team out in Sedona, which is just makes all the difference. And so we were able to get a lot more surveys out there. And our team this year, it just gets better and better. So there's always this big misnomer, is homelessness increasing, or are we just getting better at it, at counting? So it's kind of a difficult thing when you see the numbers come in that are higher, because we are getting better every year.
And which brings more dollars to our community to help house those folks.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. Very good. Kellie Wilson, you have a program which I think is great. You're collaborating with Yahtzee to do your Kick Butts event. Is that right? Can you talk about that?
Actually, Jim Mayberry from the Yavapai Community Health Department gave us a call. They have the program. It's a youth program, so it's all high school students kind of combating, fighting tobacco, you know, and so she asked us if we would be willing to partner with her this year. So we said absolutely, of course, because we're really just all about partnering with our community and strengthening those ties and just helping any way that we can. So she is coming down on March 15th to the Old Town Mission, and they will be there from 9 to 12:30. They're going to set up a nice display and display shoes. So every shoe will represent, I believe, a death that's caused by secondhand smoke, and then they will give the shoes away. But they're going to have a lot of resources and just a whole bunch of information available that day. So it's going to be a great day, and hopefully we can get some people to consider to stop smoking and focus on that, because I think it's a huge epidemic and so many people are just...
Absolutely. Okay. So for the folks at home who are concerned about people experiencing homelessness in our community, what are a few things that people that might be watching this program can do who want to help this cause?
I think one of the biggest things is just continue to donate to the local organizations that are actually serving people experiencing homelessness. So, you know, there's a lot of concern that if we give money to somebody, we don't know exactly where it's going to go, but if you give it to the Old Town Mission or Catholic Charities, you know exactly where it's going to go. Or Angie's Houses or any of the other organizations, you know exactly where that money is going to go. It's going to go straight into the hands of the people that need it. So that's a really great thing. And then just the compassion and understanding. No one's asking anyone to save the world, but it would just be a little bit of understanding that everyone it's their own path, and there's a struggle, and it's hard. So just compassion.
Sure. Kellie, what do you think folks can do at home?
You know, I think that's a big part of it is, you know, a lot of times people want to stop and talk to people, and one lady that I know in particular, she's just always has a heart. So if she sees somebody that she knows is homeless, she's going to go up into them, and she's always talking to me. Well, what can I do? They really don't talk. They don't want to talk to me or won't share with me. And I said, well, it's going to take a while. I said, you're really kind of going to build a relationship. If you're going to keep on, you know, pursuing that, you have to keep building a relationship and trying to send them to the places that you know can offer them help. But I said a lot of times, because she doesn't understand why she can't just help them right there in the spot. And I said, you really just kind of, it takes a while. You kind of have to build a relationship. And there's sometimes people come in, they're real, you know, nonchalant, closed off for a long time until they kind of get to know you, build that relationship, and then they'll start opening up more and more. And you'll all of a sudden you'll be like, why didn't you tell me that 3 weeks ago? I could have helped you 3 weeks ago if we would have known.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes a while.
I imagine it would probably take years sometimes to nurture those relationships, to build
and
that
sometimes
trust.
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's-
But certainly if folks did want to make a donation, that you would recommend directly to the organization that serves the homeless people.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And there's always, you come on down and get involved. It's, partner with Project Connect, and we're always partnering with so many businesses and groups and organizations here in Cottonwood and in town, and so many businesses. So
So there's ways to volunteer as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
come on out.
You're never going to turn away a volunteer,
Nope.
right?
Or come to a homeless coalition meeting. You could do that too.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well,
Yes.
thanks to both you ladies for what you do in our
Absolutely.
community, and thanks for coming in today to share it.
Thanks
for having us.
Absolutely. Okay, so this ends the Inside Cottonwood this month. Thanks very much. Again, I'm Tim Eliza, Mayor of Cottonwood, and I hope to see you back next month. Take care.